What's up, guys? We're back. I got a lot of stuff done over the past few days. Let's go over it. We're just gonna get right into it. So boom, just like that. Video magic. Everything's pretty much off. The engine's ready to be pulled. Turbo kit's right there. The old one. Yeah, it's pretty much good to go. All I have to do is just undo the two bolts for the engine mount on each side and attach the hoist and start pulling it out. I decided to leave the transmission in. In order to do that, you got to pull this harness out, and then there's a little sub harness that runs underneath. It's actually just kind of chilling right here. Yeah, pretty much that's it. And a part of it's right there. So before I pull everything, I'm just gonna feed everything up through here. Just lay it over the engine. And then I did not want to mess up the Cosworth intake manifold, but most people lift it by the intake manifold. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretty much hoist it up the same way I did the spare block, which is by the two front bolts here. That will give me stability across the top of the cover here, because the chain's gonna basically detach to all this. The chain's gonna go here. I'm gonna put a rag here so it doesn't mess it up. And it's gonna come up here. I have a load leveler that I'll be able to adjust the angle of the engine as it comes out. So that should be nice and easy. I took off the driver's side exhaust manifold because it looked like there was going to be clearance issues with the steering rack, the steering column joint there thingy, and yeah, so that's out. All the bolts are. This is pretty much ready to get pulled. This is how I did this power steering over here. I just undid that bolt there, capped it off for the feet over here. Feet's just chilling here. This is chilling. For the ground over here, which is over here, I just unbolted it over here. Put a little dot on the bolt so I remember when I move this bolt over to the new block that I know that's the ground bolt. Same over here. Pretty much everything's ready to go. A couple pointers. So you really don't need any swivel sockets for any of the bolts up top here. So what all I did was just this bracket right here for the main harness. There's two 10mm bolts. Just undo those real quick. This comes out of the way, and then that way you have leverage to get to that bolt and to that bolt really easily. The rest of them you just got to get the right length extensions and all that stuff, just to start out with the smallest and then work your way up. That way you have clearance and leverage as you break the bolts loose, and then just use a air ratchet or something like a stubby, just get that bolt out. But there was 11 bolts total, including 2 for the starter on my engine. I don't know, I've seen videos where they said there was 12 bolts, but even factory service manual says there's 11. But speaking of that, I tore this whole thing apart following pretty much the factory service manual almost to a T, except for a few things because I'm pulling the engine out separately away from the transmission, so that they mentioned to drop some things, and they're also dropping the engine from the bottom, so I'm not dropping it from the bottom. It's just going to come right out this way, right? So yeah, I use that as pretty much a guide. That way I can stay on track, label all the bolts as I go. Speaking of that, pretty much it's the laptop I use for all the factory service manual stuff. It's downloaded on there, but here are all the bolts. Pretty much everything I started with in the beginning is over there, and then just works its way up over here. It's pretty much all the last few bolts that I took off on the engine. And let's go back here. What else did I do? Oh, I dropped the slave cylinder, so that way you have a little more room to work with the bolts over there. There's a few bolts over there you have to undo, and just getting that out the way, get the line out the way will be easier. Plus, when you pull the motor, you have less likely chance of messing that line up. I mean, I do have a replacement, but I still don't want to risk it, right? And then what else did I do? I'm trying to think. I think that's pretty much it. You know what? Let's go over this. So I don't see many videos on this, but I'll show you guys now that it's out. So you're probably like, all right, I'm getting this out, and you're trying to pull on this, which comes out through here, and there's just no give to it. You're like, what the heck? Well, actually, there's a snap ring underneath. There's 3 points that hold it on. What you need to do is basically, see where I left a little scratch mark here? That's where I put the screwdriver. That's where this tab was. And just kind of push it in, and you just lift on it. You really don't need to push this other one, but I just ended up pushing on one and it popped out. So then you can just feed the 2 connectors, the ECM, and I forgot what this one was, but there's one more inside the body right there. There's a little guy. But basically, follow the factory service manual, download it. I highly recommend it. Makes the job and life and guesswork, takes the guesswork out, but it makes the life and the work much easier to do. So with that said, this is gonna come out basically next nice day we have, because right now it's raining in Buffalo, and as you can see, the garage door is right there, and the engine hoist is definitely gonna be past the line where I'm gonna be getting wet. So let's not do that. We'll wait for a nice day, and this is gonna get pulled out, and I'll have a video up after that. I'm gonna go over what the plan is to swap all the things over from this block over to that block chilling over there. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you want, hit that like and subscribe button, and really doesn't really matter, you know. I just do this for fun, but if you want to, you know, keep up with the projects, that's what you can do. All right, guys, take care. Peace.